We have to hit search so that all the employees display. The Starwood environment is notoriously slow. Because this isn't just your property that this server takes care of. It takes care of every Starwood property. 4 Points, Weston, Sheraton, or I'm not sure like if this is being converted into Marriott or Starwood as its tribute. It exists within Starwood. So what I usually do, right now I have 2 managers in here, yeah. So I'm setting up the employee guide for you guys, so it'll be easier later on. So what I usually do is I press this plus button right here, yeah. Sorry, wrong. First you have to go to employee records down here. And feel free to stop me for any questions if you have any. It's going to get confusing.
So once you go to search, you go to employee records, correct?
Yes, correct. Employee records. And then, for instance, I'm going to add, I can't even say your last name, your first name.
Martinez?
Elpidio?
Because I'm Raul. Yeah.
Raul?
Hmm?
Alright. So I'm copying Adriana, who has manager access. Martinez. And this check name is what's going to display on the check whenever someone brings up something. So I usually go with the first name, initial last name. And this ID is what you use to log into workstation. So we make this 19086. And your name, sir?
Randall.
Randall? R-A-N-D-A-L-L?
Yeah.
Or last name?
Severa. C-E-R.
C-E-R.
V-E-R-A.
V-E-R-A?
Yeah.
Four.
So you're for what you're doing right there is you're just
I'm making IDs so that you guys can log into. You guys will get cards also, which will change these IDs. But I will also make a secondary ID. So if you guys forget your card, you can type in a specific number to access.
so we can use both.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The second one is not here anymore. You know, that
Tim-
was the
Tim
old
Marlowe?
GM.
Okay.
Now it's Marlon.
Okay.
Just in case you want to change.
Yeah, I can always deactivate it. That's another thing is that if you have employees that don't exist here anymore, the best course of action is to not delete them, but to remove their, what is it?
Access.
Yeah, just to remove their access essentially. It's been a bit since I've had employees. You could just, yeah, all you really have to do is just remove their access. You can do that at either one. You could remove it through operators so that he can't log into any of them, essentially. And then for him not to log into EMC, which he could technically right now if he downloaded it, which means I'm going to deactivate it now. General. that's fine. I could remove his, there we go. I can remove all these, and he'll never have access. The reason we don't delete him is because there's a chance of rehire, right? So you always want to just keep him in the system, so it saves you a little bit of time. I'm gonna keep him as this. Just change his username.
I was just reading it.
You cannot leave the same number and just add Marlon.
Yeah, I could actually just use Marlon. That works. Marlon
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
He can use that number for emergencies.
Yo. Mauricio Gonzalez. It's because we'll call the MA Gonzalez. Okay. So like I said, easiest course of action. So like for your servers, right? There's a template right here. And you could just add a server by pressing the plus button under employee records. I didn't do that. So you add it under employee records, you press this plus button. And you make sure all these are checked so they have access to every revenue center. And you just add their first name, last name, check name, and then you give them their ID, which I showed you earlier. Pretty simple, right? Just
Yeah.
It's pretty much just a copy and paste of everything for employees. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Right over here.
Fine.
I'll bring it upstairs once I'm done. Yes.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, Juanita. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, so that's adding an employee. Now that we did that, now on your workstation, go ahead and tap it, it'll wake it up. You're gonna hit update database on the bottom right first before you do anything. Now what update database does is any changes that are made in there are now applied to the workstation. So let's say you guys are adding a new menu item, right? You have to update the database in order for the menu item to show on there. So very
You
important.
go to each terminal and update the database.
Yes,
It doesn't
or
do it
or
automatically.
if you do changes every night,
Mhm.
the database updates every 30 minutes automatically.
Oh, it does.
It does, yeah. This is more like if you need an emergency, like
right away, I
additional
just
right
need to
away.
change.
Yes, then you would do an update database.
And that's a pretty quick update.
Yes, it doesn't take very long. Now there's a reload database that takes long. You don't want to do that unless instructed to by whoever like is telling you to reload database, and that's usually like last case scenario if things aren't working your way. Because a reload could take like 20 minutes, and that means they can't use the machine for 20 minutes. Off to the next thing. So we have menu item maintenance. This is where you add menus, menu items. By the way, I haven't added much, so whoever did the programming this,
Are we going in with the same login number that we had there, or the same previously that you gave us? So
Uh,
again,
the one I gave you up there. So let me make sure. Let me see what I
I don't
gave you.
think it's minus.
What was it? 190. Let
19083.
me take a look.
Oh, yeah, 19084.
But did you want to login?
Can you have the original 107? 87.
Is yours working? Okay. We'll prepare.
Maybe let me try with the first one with 87.
And we have access to one revenue center. Lyric?
Yeah,
For
well,
now.
I'll change it so
Okay.
where you have access to all of them.
Okay.
It's loading. Alright. 19084 and 19083.
I got it with the 87.
Okay. And, yeah, you try 19084 for me, Adriana. See if it works. There you go. Alright, perfect. Go ahead and select any, whatever revenue center is displayed on there. And there isn't much items put on there yet because on the site survey, there was no food items listed. So I grabbed the menu, started doing some yesterday. Start fast transaction is just, you don't have to enter a table or anything like that. There's the start check by name and start check by table, which is pretty self-explanatory in what you have to do, right? So let's move on with menu item maintenance. As you can see in front of your screen, we've got 3 items on there. Those are just the small ones that I did. They're probably not supposed to be under light starts, but I'll fix that later. Actually, I'll show you how I do it right now.
Where do we find menu and item maintenance?
So
Restaurant?
it'll be, you start the transaction. So go back to there. So you want to start a transaction, and then you'll see the names. There is a transaction in progress. Go ahead and sign out. There you go.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for it to load on me. There we go. So, when you're creating an item, I've organized it so we have lyric breakfast here for the light starts. We got lyric breakfast griddle.
I'm sorry, and then where do we find that screen from here?
Okay, that will be under the menu item maintenance right over here. So this is where all your menu items will exist.
Oh, but, okay, so that's an EMC, not
Yeah,
on the
that'll be an
tablet.
EMC. Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it'll be an EMC.
It's not on the tablet, it's just in the
Yeah.
computer.
Mhm.
So we have these items. I created, as you can see on your screen, there's dried blueberry pancakes and buttermilk pancakes, right? I'm going to, these should be light starters. So when I created this, right, I needed to make a master record first. So that's what you do is you hit this plus button. I usually like to copy, so if it's a light starter, right, for instance, I'll copy from another light starter. So you hit plus. It's called bowl of fruit. I'll delete it after. This is for training purposes. So with bowl of fruit, you always need to assign, or any item you enter, you need to assign a major group and a family group, right? And if you click on here, you have all these major groups. So if it's liquor, you click liquor, etc. And based on what you choose here, changes this option over here. So like, this would be considered a breakfast cold food. But if I change this to liquor, now you have all these liquor family groups instead. Make sense?
Yeah.
Am I missing it? Right. So after you make an item in master groups, so whoops. And by master records, I mean right here. You see where it says master records down below. That's where you would first add an item. Then what you would do is you need to add a definition to it. So this time you press the plus button, but you add definitions to masters. This is where you give it a price. You can also use a template based off of another one that you've done. I'm not going to do that in this case for training purposes. I'm going to create the price as 0. Alright. Now it appears in definition records. With definition records, in order for everything to show up on the screen, you need a menu item class. This main level, whoops, right, lost it. Okay. So each item needs a menu item class for it to display on the workstation. You want to use, these are like modifiers, which I'll show you exactly what that is later. Modifiers being like rare, medium rare, etc. Or if you want your eggs to be scrambled, etc. For now, we'll use food all kitchen full tax. Print class override is if you want it to print only to a certain printer. And by that is, so if I go to this menu item class, I'll show you that.
Like if you want to print it to the bar printer, to
Yeah,
the
if you wanted to
restaurant, the
print
kitchen
exclusively to the bar printer or print it to
Yeah,
the hot printer or the expo printer, or both, you know?
Es lo que busco, usamos en el
No lo hacen dos. Es un nuevo menú con nuevos micros. Ujú.
Okay. So this is the menu item class section. I'm just briefly showing you this. We're going to come back to it later, but you see that there's a print class associated with the menu class. That means whatever is assigned to food all kitchen full text means it's going to print to every printer that there is in the kitchen. Now, with print class override, you could be like, yeah, I don't want that to happen, right? So you can change it to all kitchen, hot only, cold only, expo only. Continuing on with getting to the item display on the workstation, this needs to be FF and FF, which means it's going to show on the screen. And then screen lookup. So I think this is going to be breakfast cold right here. And let me show you something with that.
Oh, she changed. She was here yesterday. Elisa.
Or you have a new menu. We want to erase everything is there. You can.
Yeah, I barely started on it, so.
Okay. This is the one. That's why we don't send it last time. It
Okay.
was finalized and waiting for Micro's approval.
Okay, then yeah, I'll work on that today slash tomorrow.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to breakfast right here. Sorry, it's a little bit small. Let's go to breakfast. Well, I haven't created a full one yet, but so let's go with right here. So light starters, yeah. We're actually gonna go through a light starter. So right here, I clicked on this, right? It pops up something new over here. This is where you'll be like, yeah, all the menu items that I want here are gonna be assigned to this SLU. So for this one, it's gonna be, we'll just make it breakfast cold. So everything that everything that I make, that I assign breakfast cold here, is going to appear on this specific screen, right? So I'll probably make like a breakfast cold like tab over here, and that way every time you click on that, you're gonna see all the cold items display right over here. This doesn't show. This is actually the condiment pop-up that happens when you click on like steak, and then this will pop up, be like, you want medium rare or rare, etc. And then of course the last thing you need to do to get it to show up is you need to assign it a price. $0 is fine. Obviously you're not going to sell it for free, but it will show up if you make it at $0. As long as there's a price on there. So let me make those pancakes during breakfast hot. So I'm going to, I made this into breakfast cold. I'm gonna save it. I want you guys to do an update database. So to do an update database now is you have to sign out and then hit update database and then sign back in.
Thank you.
Thank you for the food. It's perfect.
That was good?
Light morning breakfast. All right, so now go ahead and click on Start Fast Transaction. Oh. I guess it didn't really go through, did it?
I did. I got it.
He got it. That's fair. Let's try that again.
What was it?
It's under, it should pop up under breakfast if you hit like starts.
It's weird. He got it. Yours, does it say bowl of fruit on yours or?
It says cold breakfast and then it says fruit.
Okay.
And that fruit is $0.
Okay.
Template?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed that the one that I'm logging in,
That's fine.
that's okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's how you make items appear on there.
It didn't call the line.
That's quite possibly the most important thing for you guys, obviously, to make sure that items are showing up on the screen.
So if you have to do every single station, huh? It won't. It was not
Yes,
like
you
one
have
that.
to. Yeah, you have to update every single workstation in order for it to appear. Unfortunately, or you can wait 30 minutes for it to appear. But if it's an emergency, then yes, you want to update each workstation. Now I'm going to show you guys these menu item classes, which you'll barely have to touch because we created all of them for you. But I want to explain the concept because who knows, there might be a time where you will have to mess with it. So let's create, all right, let's see here. Okay. So we have these items, right? Rare, medium, etc. So these have to be created as regular menu items, but they don't get a SLU because they're not supposed to pop up on there. It's supposed to be under a condiment pop-up. On the menu item class, you can see it says M-meet temp. M stands for modifier. Now, if I go to menu item classes, we have R-meet temp. Then you have there it is, M-meet temp, right? If you ever want to create a new menu item class, always just copy. The reason why you want to copy is because you don't want to keep on messing with these option bits. On condiment groups, right? We have a meat member called meat temp right here. So what this means is, and I'm gonna put this in like layman's term, I guess, is these guys, they're all part of a gang called the meat temp gang. They all exist under this guy, and their leader leader of the gang is called, where is it at? R meat temp. So he's the leader of this group essentially. So whenever you're making condiments, they will be under the M part. So like M for modifier, and then they'll be assigned to that menu item class. So like if you have a sandwich side like fries or onion rings, right? We'll pretend that we have a sandwich side thing right here, like a group essentially, and every sandwich side is going to be part of that menu item class. So if I make M dash sandwich side, all the fries, the fries, the onion rings, the vegetables, they'll be under that menu item class so that they all coincide with this group. This is the hardest thing, by the way. It gets pretty confusing. Now let's go to the leader, right? Leader is R dash meat temp. This is what you would assign the actual menu item. So like a steak, for instance, will be assigned R meat temp. And you check the meat temp one. This means that it's required. See, it says required comment groups. It's required for you to choose one of my homies, you know, like rare or medium rare. So you have to choose it. Forced condiments. Also, yeah, this means that you one means you have to choose one. Maximum means you can only choose one. You can always change it. So like if they don't want a sandwich side, right? Then you change this to 0, and then you make this 1. Or if they have more, or if they can choose more than one option, like potatoes and onion rings, then you make this 0 and you make this 2. So that means they can choose a maximum of 2 and they can choose a minimum of none. And whenever you're copying, you want to copy R to make another R, and if you want to make an M, like another condiment group, then you copy M. So like in this instance, I would just copy M dash meat temp. Where is that?
It was like 105 something.
There it is. So like, if you're gonna create condiments, just copy anything that has the initial M before it, and then the leader, the actual item itself that's gonna be using those condiments will have the R, this R1. Kind of makes sense?
So just to ask, so R is like the meat temp, and then M is like the medium well, the medium.
Yes.
Modified.
Correct. So
Rare.
M would be the modifiers itself. R is what you would assign to the steak,
Okay.
because the steak wants you to choose, you know,
The M's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I said, best description you can get. M is the gang members. R is the gang leader. Let's see.
But those modifiers are already created.
Yes, they're already
Like the
created.
basic
Yeah.
ones.
The basic ones are already created.
Okay.
It's more so if you want to add some more in the future, that you would use. You'd either create a new menu item class or use an existing one that like might exist. So like dressing, right? There's an R dressing right here for Thousand Island or whatever you want to add on your salad, and then there's also a dressing / salad add-on, which is probably most likely going to be like a dressing plus if you want to add chicken or steak or whatever, you know. Let me go to that one actually real quick. You're gonna notice this has 2 check marks, right? So this guy wants you to pick from 2 different gangs essentially, right? So like you got the dressing choice gang and the salad add-ons gang. They're from different people essentially, but you need to have these in order to complete this item essentially. So like when you're adding a salad, when you're having a salad that wants an chicken or steak, whatever, you need to select the dressing choice, and then it's going to prompt you again, be like, do you want chicken or steak or none? You know, so that's also an option.
And then would you be able to select the temperature as well? Say for if it is a steak.
Yes, so I would have to check out, for if it's a steak, I would just have to check meat temp right over here. And I can make meat temp on here 0, because if they choose chicken, you're not gonna have a meat temp. Chicken is chicken. So in this situation, I would be putting it as 0, but a maximum of 1. So if you do have to choose one, then you can choose one. Let's see what else. Let's go to page design real quick. So there's probably a lot of unnecessary clutter here that I'll get rid of at some point. Like you guys don't have an all-day menu, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, with
Do you
the
have like a lunch or?
no
Well,
evening menu.
The lunch and
Breakfast
dinner.
and-
You have a lunch dinner. That's right.
And we're gonna add the pool menu.
Okay, yeah. Then we can have an all-day menu here. We would just have to make a new well, you just assign it to either to any of these essentially. And remember, you click on here, you know where you're going with. So all the pizzas are going to go over here because we assigned it pizza flatbread SLU. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to take a long time to get used to it. You're probably, honestly, most likely not going to be doing this that often. You'll probably be calling the Marriott line, but I will provide documentation so that you guys can sort of look it up and remember things and mess around with it. There's a lot of good information on the internet too, on YouTube, that will help you out. Like I said, I know people aren't going to remember everything I say when I do these lessons. It never really works out, but it's mandatory, so I have to. Let's go to the workstations itself now. I want to teach you a thing or two on there. So let us click on cold breakfast template on here. So like under breakfast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're under breakfast, and then go ahead and click on cold breakfast template for me, guys, if you haven't already. Yeah.
I need to clear one.
Yeah. So if you want to clear one, you would hit void.
Of what? Okay.
You have to highlight it. So actually, let's do that. Go ahead and ring up another item. So it could be the same one if you want. Right? So to void the item, you actually have to highlight that item and press void. Simple enough. And I'll show you more details later. If you send it to the kitchen and you try and void it, it needs manager approval because it's already being sent to the kitchen. It's already being made. We need to make sure that it gets manager approval to cancel that out. We'll do that soon. Actually, no, just send it now. So there's a bottom on the bottom right. You'll see the word send. That's how you send to the kitchen. It's gonna log you out automatically. Now go ahead and log in. Now, if you log in after you sign out, there's an open check that you'll see. It's on it looks like you clicked on it already. Yep, there you go. Go ahead and click on that open check for me. So there's your check now, right? Let's try and void it. Click, highlight it, and then click. What happens if you click void first? It enables this thing. So
Okay.
yeah. So now
highlight it, then void.
Yeah, highlight it, then void. Now it's going to give you this
Why?
screen where it's like, why do you want to void this, right? So yeah, choose any item, choose any of them. I'm clearing this stuff before you guys go live anyway, so it's not going to show up on your reports. And now, like, let's say it's at zero balance and you want to cash it out. Like let's say they were unhappy with their meal and you give it to them for free, right? Now you're gonna click on pay on the bottom. I'll get rid of the cover count.
Well, we
Okay.
didn't enter it in the beginning, so it's probably,
Yeah.
we want it on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could enter any number for a cover count. And you're gonna just hit enter exact cash, right? And it closes out the check at 0. And that's how you sort of issue like a refund of some sort. Or not issue a refund, but if like, well, yeah, exactly.
Void it.
Yeah, that's how you void it and you cash out so the check closes.
How would we do like a reimbursement? So, like,
Reimbursement?
yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. I was gonna get to it, so let's actually do it now, right? So, let's say they charged their credit card already, yeah? That's kind of what you're asking for, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let us ring up. Actually, no, you don't even have to ring up.
Or would it be
anything.
like to do a negative void?
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. You would be doing a negative void, so it'd be go to function. It should be on there. Manager.
Function stuff. Okay.
Negative check. So function on the actual check itself. So it won't be under. Well, maybe it will be. Let's see. Function manager functions.
Oh, man, functions. Okay.
Let's see if there's a negative check option on there. I do not. So what it is you have to go to start a fast transaction because you have to actually start a transaction anyways to do the negative check.
So would you do
No, it would be functions,
functions? Okay.
and then there's a negative check button right there.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So go ahead and hit that negative check button if you've seen it yet. It will be, you have to start a check first. So go ahead and click top left of the screen. Start a fast transaction.
Send it.
No,
Wait.
void. Then you go to function. And then there's a negative check option here, yeah? And then you have to select the reason. And then, if you click on any item, it's gonna give you a negative.
Oh, okay.
With the reasoning behind it too. That one, negative check. It's gonna be, it will show, this is obviously 0, but it's gonna show negative.
A negative
essentially.
money.
And then,
Just press void or send or.
what you would do is you would go to the pay screen, enter the cover count, and if it's a credit card transaction, then you would do a.
CC refund?
No, I don't know if I've never seen anyone use the CC refund, but like, what you would do is you would just hit CC off and then you do CC final right after. Off is not going to work right now because we don't have any credit card
Okay.
devices on there. Of course, you could also use the cash button if they paid in cash and you give them a refund.
Exact cash. Yeah.
Yeah, this is precisely to just balance the books, right? So, you know, they may have gotten their food, but they didn't like it and they want a refund, right? So then you would do a native transaction so it just goes to 0. That way there's no discrepancies for accounting. Like, where is this $15 coming from? You know, I didn't see it on anywhere. So
So we will press CC authorization and then the fine.
yes, correct. Unless they paid in cash, then you would,
Yeah, of
then you
course.
would do cash.
How would we do transfer checks or room service or restaurant?
Room service will be its own revenue center, which I haven't
Can we
created
do
yet.
employee to plus employee to employee or like transfer?
Yes, you can do transfer check from employee to employee. So I will show you that feature.
Only managers have access to this, correct?
Yes, I have you set up as manager, so that's why you can see it. But servers will not be able to see that manager functions page where you can do a negative check. Yeah. Let us. Okay, go to function on the. Let's cancel this. there's a transfer check button on the functions page of there. So transfer check by table, transfer check from list. Transferring is to transfer to another server, so they get all the tip. They don't get the sales though. The sales go to the original server. I'm not sure why Micros does it like that. It's just how they programmed it. There's another one called pickup check. Pickup check is more of a, you're trying to help the other server out by adding additional items. Sorry, it automatically signs you out. It's annoying. If you just keep pressing the button, it'll not sign you out.
Where I'm going.
Button? Let's see.
Where's the pickup check?
I am looking for it.
All checks, maybe? Maybe an all checks on the top.
Let's see.
On the bottom left is pickup checks.
On the main screen.
Yeah, the main
Okay,
screen.
good find. So
That's the main.
it'll be
Need to log in again?
yeah. Go ahead and log in again. Yeah. So pickup check option, you just click on it and you're like, if there's a check on there, then you pick it up and then you would help. So let's, say Sandra ring up some items, but Adriana wants to help her out because the customer has been waiting a long time. She would go to pickup check, add the item, and then send it to the kitchen. Yeah. The sales and the tip still goes with the original server. It does not get transferred to the other server.
As a manager, do we have to pick up the check, or will we just
Servers
be
can
able
pick
to-
up checks.
But we don't need to though.
You don't need to.
We will
No.
just be able to view theirs.
Yes, correct.
Now servers, are they gonna be able to see everybody else's check or just their own?
They can see. Oh no, I don't think so. I don't think they can. I don't think with Marriott Standard they can see
Right
everyone's
now,
check.
they can see all the checks, but they cannot pick it up.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think you'll be able to see all the checks unless you. I'll have to see. But I can always change it.
Are you sure?
They can't see each other's checks.
When no, on the screen it shows, no, but they cannot pick it up.
Sorry. You're good. I'm gonna change the timeout so it doesn't log you guys out for like 30 seconds.
Is there a way to keep that open or that's probably not a good idea.
They want you to submit it for security purposes once you'd be signed out at some point.
And not leave it all the way open.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing Randall, bro.
He probably has. He might have an open check or something on there. It's a
That doesn't
possibility.
exist.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you can transfer it to your name.
So how to transfer to my name?
You just press OK. Now you have his
Now
check.
it's under my name.
It's not under your name. It's still under his name, but you can help him out. Essentially, it's still going to be under his name though. You just add the item.
So how would you be able to transfer that then?
If you want to transfer a check,
Actually, yeah.
I mean, just pick a hat out of the name. Whoever's going to get the check, you transfer it to, right?
So does that server necessarily have to use their card to open the screen?
No. So like the server who's going to be transferring a check just hits transfer check, and whenever the next server logs in, they will see it on their screen.
Do they have to pick it up, or
No.
it's automatically?
It's
They
automatic.
have to accept it.
Correct.
Okay.
The hardest part about this system is just finding everything, honestly. There's a lot of stuff on here. I'm going to clear some clutter off, obviously, but that's pretty much the hardest part of this system, I would like to say, is just finding the correct buttons. If you navigate, right, so like you could see breakfast, dinner, that's where you get all the dinner items, brunch, kids menu. It all changes. It's all self-explanatory, right? Beers and cocktails, this is where all your beers will be. Also, this will be like once I create all the menus and let you guys know. This will Tuesday will be the best opportunity, and also tomorrow for your servers to see what items are missing or what prices
Okay,
are
está
wrong.
bien, exacto.
Uh,
¿Quieres poner?
And during go live, I fully expect to be issues with prices and menu. That's why I'm going to be here to make sure that I fix things while you guys are operating at the same time, and also training employees at the same time on, like, while they're working, because people aren't going to retain everything right away, until they start using the system.
So when they sent the email to the migrating system on the micros, and
Yeah.
are you the one that I sent everything to?
It's sending what to who?
Because Tim sent me an email from, I guess, from you guys
Yeah.
to add everything that was on our menu that was staying.
Oh, so we got a site survey, but the site survey
The site survey.
only included like liquor and wine. I'm assuming because you guys got a new menu. That's
Yeah,
probably
I didn't add
probably
no food.
why.
The
Yeah.
only thing I added was juices and milk and stuff
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what we got. So
Okay.
we have those in there. I have to add the dinner and lunch menu.
At
essentially,
that point in
breakfast.
time when I did that, we didn't have draft beers, but now we do. So
Okay. I mean, I can always add draft beers too, so
Perfect.
that's not a big deal. I just need prices, and you could always
name
email.
of-
You can always email me the prices. I will. Do not have a pen or paper here to write myself down. There we go.
Ay, there's another one.
can
Oh,
you send that check?
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
I got it. There's a paper and pen right here. Thank you.
Mándalo check.
Don't worry, I'm taking video. Send
You're
it to
doing
you.
it. You got it.
I had to send all the menus today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow 4 a.m. Tomorrow anytime. Losing connection.
That's because my laptop just went to sleep.
Yeah.
That's why. Let's go to function again in the sign-in screen. So go ahead and log out and then log back in if you already started a transaction. I'm just going to be going over every single button on that. Go ahead and cancel transaction, Randall, and then sign back in. Make sure you touch your screen every so often so it doesn't log you out. Room search won't work yet because we don't have light speed
It's not connected.
configured. That's going to be something we do tomorrow or the next day, something like that. So obviously there's room search. Go ahead and click on functions top right, Randall.
Reprint will just be reprint the check number, correct?
Yeah. Reprint close check gives you a list of checks that you want to reprint. Reprint last close check, pretty self-explanatory. You want to reprint the last close check. I don't have a printer on there yet, so it's going to give you an
Okay.
error.
The transaction.
Yeah.
There is.
Obviously, I already showed you the transfer checks. Now, adjust check. Adjust check allows you to also change forms of payments, unless you're going from credit card to anything else, because the credit card's already off. So let's say someone pays in cash, right? But then they were like, you know what, I want to do a credit card instead, right? And the check's already closed. So you would hit adjust close check, list, and then just choose it. We'll choose whatever. We'll choose that one. Any of the checks is fine. Now you could void the cash payment by highlighting it and pressing void. And then you could be like, you could do CC off and CC finalize.
So you
Once.
could do it by, it could give you all the checks closed, or you can.
You could type in
check.
you could also
can
type
put
in a
up your
number,
check.
yeah. You
Okay.
could also do the number too. But because I don't know what numbers we have out there yet, I'm just using that one. So you can change from cash to card. You can change from gift card to card. You can charge from room charge to card. You can change anything to anything besides credit card to anything else. So credit card can't go to cash, credit card can't go to room charge, the credit card can't go to gift cards because it's already been a
They
finalized
can do it from
transaction.
a credit card to another credit card?
You would have
No,
to.
you would need the credit card physically. That's the
Would it?
thing. That's the problem is that if you don't have the physical credit card on you,
Mm-hmm.
then like you can't actually like.
But if the guest says, okay, I just put it in this card instead of this one, can you do
Yeah.
that?
So this would be a perfect example of why you have to do a negative check actually, right? So because the system doesn't allow you to do a credit card to cash or credit card to room charge, this would be the point in time where you would do that negative check I showed
First, what
showed you earlier.
Make just
Yeah.
do whole transaction.
Yeah, so what you would do is you take the person's card and then you would insert it and then it refunds them the whatever money and then you would go back, ring up the same exact items and then you
Charge it
would
to a new card.
charge it to a new card or charge it to cash or charge it to room.
So if we pick up the credit card or well, it doesn't make sense. That means I can't pay cash. Okay.
So there's no. So for instance, if they had a check and close the check on the credit card,
Yeah.
you can't go back, open the check, and
No.
then refund that payment. You have to make a whole nother.
Yeah, we don't. I don't know if it's Marriott specific, but I'm pretty sure they don't allow people to reopen checks because of I don't know, maybe compliance or something like that. They don't want people just all willy nilly, refunding people out of nowhere.
So
So
this basically would be from room charge and maybe cash if they just decide not to do a room charge
yeah.
or cash. Okay.
Another thing that's important, and this is going to probably be more brutal for your servers than anything, is tipping. So, for tipping, once they are ready to pay with card, this is card specific. Well, actually, room charge too is once you hit CC off, right, and they sign the paper and they give you the information like $5 tip, right? So let's say I bought something that was $13, they gave me $5 in. They need to enter 18. There's a little number pin pad right here. And then they hit CC finalize. Then a pop-up will say, is $5 the right amount of tip? And then you'll hit yes, and therefore the $5 tip will go to them. Now, if they forget to do that, they either have to run a negative transaction or they are out of that tip.
So
essentially.
once they don't input the tip at the moment of closing the total amount, there's no way to pay.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. So CC off, enter the total including the tip, then CC final. Same thing goes for a room charge. You just enter the total amount including the tip, and then you hit the room charge button, and it'll also pop up saying, "Is $5 the right amount for a tip?"
So it's kind of the same thing we're doing now.
Yeah.
It's
Makes
just that
sense.
you cannot add it after.
Yep.
Yeah. With new technology comes PCI compliance, and that's why a lot of this stuff is not allowed anymore because the credit card companies they don't want stuff like this happening. It's inconvenient.
Mhm.
But what can you do? On the bottom, you'll see there's a 2 restaurant screen to the IRD screen. So like it'll take you either to in-room dining or to the restaurant screen. This is all under the payment under. So go ahead and open that check for me, Randall. Go to pay our function on the top right, or not function. What's the name? Where's the pay? Oh, pay screen. I'm stupid. There we go. So on the bottom, you'll see there's a couple options to rest. You can go back to the restaurant screen. You can go back to the in-room dining screen. You can reprint the credit card voucher, and obviously to go back to the pay screen, you just hit pay.
What is this no trailer print?
No trailer means that if you want to print this would actually be a perfect example for a room charge.
Yeah.
Because when you want to charge, when someone wants to get a tip from room charge, you want to print out the
Oh, they want to copy
the
it.
slip
Yeah.
so that they write the room number, who it's the last name, and then the allotted tip. So you always want to do a no trailer print if someone's going to do a room charge, and then you enter the room charge so that you have all their information. Because it's awkward to ask someone for a tip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a home button or is it just selection you have no top?
To go back to the regular screen, unfortunately, you have to like cancel
Just
the transaction. Yeah.
These are the numbers for the covers to choose covers.
Those I think might be seat numbers possibly. So yeah, so if you change, if you click 7. Oh, we're doing an adjustment. That's why. You're. We're just gonna close this out. When you're in adjustment, it won't allow you to do anything. So if you click here, that's the seat number 7.
Seat number, okay.
Yeah. What I was showing her is if you see these numbers on here, on the restaurant screen.
Do we have any covers in there? Like how we are going to input the cover?
I mean, the cover will just be when you're coming to pay the check where it asks you to enter the cover count.
So it'll never ask them to do covers.
At the beginning of a
Yeah.
transaction, like for
So if you do a table, a start check by table, it will ask you how many guests there are to be. So
okay.
yeah, same thing with start check by name. So like
You bought it?
it would be this, and then it's because we're in an adjustment check.
Start by table. Oh yeah.
When you're in adjust check, it won't let you do anything until you actually cash it out.
It actually doesn't ask me.
You do start by table.
Yeah.
I'll fix that.
Yeah, because accounting really wanted.
Well, yeah, no, it's normal. It's supposed to be.
Let's say enter table number. Let's say 17, but then after that it goes straight to unless we start.
There's actually a function change number of guests. Yeah.
So then,
Yeah, so you could actually enter cover count, start check by table.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, if you want to, you could change the number of guests right there. Sorry, Adrian, you're so far from me.
Oh, no, I got it, no worries.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean stylist.
Oh,
That's what I mean.
nothing on these screens work besides your
Oh, no.
nails, no. Cards, no. Only your finger works on this. Sorry to disappoint you.
So this is good because even if we did a check number, you can always go back and you can do.
add the covers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
say like you get the guest name or whatever, you can
Yeah.
go and you can put the guest name at the top.
The guest name will change. The guest, like instead of saying table 2 out of 1, it'll be
It'll-
it'll
say-
show the name
yeah.
instead. Yeah.
I have this system at my other property. It's familiar.
And then, okay, we've done void check. Void's a whole checkout essentially. Like, not a closed check, but more so a check that's already open and you want to void the whole thing instead of highlighting everything to void it. It'll grab all the items and void it. So like, let's say a party of 5 had all this food and they were all disappointed, and you don't want to click highlight. You would just do void check, and you would go ahead and void that whole check.
That wouldn't be your end, but we would need to. In that instance,
You
we'd
would
have to
need
close
manager.
it.
You need manager approval too. Yeah.
But as far as like house
you have to
accounts,
send it first before you void the check. That's right. Say again.
the house accounts, that's not your end. That would be.
There's a
our-
house account, but it would be related to Lightspeed
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna get to everyone's favorite part: splitting a check. Go ahead and ring any few items that you can. Just like, and then make sure you send to the kitchen right after. So like 3 or 4 items is fine. Let me know when that's done. Now go back, open your check. And there's going to be under the function screen a split check button.
Oh, easy.
Just to check. Just tap it and pass it to the other side?
Yep,
Yeah.
so all you do is you tap the item and you put it on the other check.
Thank you.
Also on the bottom
And
left,
save?
yeah, you would save it. But also on the bottom left, you can do add check. So now you have
On the top.
4 different checks, right?
Yeah.
And then you can
And
like.
just keep on saving, right?
Yeah, you just tap transfer. You can also add multiple checks. So now there's 3 checks. Now there's 4 checks.
If you want to remove one, just remove
You-
less.
If you wanna,
This is
yeah,
the way-
yes.
Just in
Right.
case you push too many times.
Correct, yeah.
I think we do it on the same
Yeah.
right now.
Um,
And save, correct.
Now for an even split, right? Let's say we want to do an even split between everyone. You would highlight every single item, and you don't transfer it. So like here, let's put everything back on the. Let's put everything back on the first check. Yeah.
You hide everything.
You highlight it.
Yeah. Highlight all the items and put them back on the first check.
No, this one we cannot do.
Yeah. Okay. Now highlight all of them. Don't exit. No. Not yet. I wanted to show you guys how to split evenly. So I'm gonna highlight all that.
Share item.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna click share item,
You're gonna select all.
and then you select all the checks. You press yes, and it splits it.
Down the middle, like
Yeah,
crosswise.
or if you have 5 checks, it'll split it 1/5 out of the way. If you have 10 checks, it'll split it 1/10 of the way. It does it perfectly even. Someone might get the short end of the stick by 1 cent.
Share item. correct?
Someone always
Yeah.
does.
Does it give you the option to choose in how many?
Uh,
5, 2, or 3?
no, because you have to add the check, right? So like if you add the check,
One more, then I will do it again.
yeah. Now you would do share. No,
So,
then yeah.
okay, because you
So,
want, you
yeah.
open another one
You
first.
have, yeah, you would have to add a check
Okay.
first before you can, so you can
So
split
if
it
you
3
want
ways.
5, you add 5 first, and then you split. it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. Go ahead and cancel. What that does is once you split the check, it creates 5 different checks on your screen with the same table number, but it'll be like table 1 out of 1, table 1/2, table 1/3, and you'd have to close each check individually. Kind of makes sense. It won't let you. It doesn't let you like close the check on one check, because then someone would be paying. You're only paying once for one person. Let's go ahead and hit void check. Oh, whoops. Go ahead and relog in. Go ahead and,
Void them
no, so we'll go function void check so that it just does all of them at once. This is what I was going to show you earlier. You don't have to highlight it. What I was going to do is you go to function and you hit void check, and it just does it all. So you don't have to keep on highlighting it. Then for you,
What was it?
I forgot which one it is. It's this one, function void check.
That's just one.
And then,
Everything.
yeah. Then once you void the whole check, go ahead and hit click pay and hit exact cash. Let's see
Same
what
thing?
else I have to see on here. You can always edit the seats as well. I wonder if you tap this. No, okay, so you would have to. You can do touch edit seats. No one really does that, to be honest. let's see what else. Reprint order. This takes you to our ID screen. Let's see, manager functions. Okay, yeah, perfect. Let's go to, let's start a check. And let's go to function on the top right. And click on manager. Manager's top right. Hold it down. There you go. Okay. Now you can actually menu. You can actually see how it says menu item availability, like, because you can enter a count of how many items you have left.
Oh, that's cool.
You could click on that and be like, you can 86. You can 86 an item, right?
From
Like,
the screen.
from the screen.
Oh.
Yeah. So like if you click
Where did you go?
whatever, that doesn't matter.
Function,
Out of menu item.
manager, and then
Cool.
availability.
And we'll save it.
Yep.
Oh.
So it would be, and then you just choose any of them. You hit edit, and then you hit out of
And
menu
then right
item.
here I could like, instead of having to scroll through, I would just
Yeah.
pick from liquor and then
Well,
pick liquor.
Yeah.
Will that permanently stay there until you go back?
Until
to
you
uncheck
remove it
it?
manually.
Until you uncheck it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't remove it from the system, from the server screen.
It will put an X
Oh,
on
okay.
it, indicating that it's no longer available. So it'll show on there. So like if it is available and you see the X, you know that you have to go back into that screen and change it so that the item is available. Hey Marlon.
Okay. More.
Morning.
I have a question. Percentage of discounts.
Yes, sure. We'll get to that. We're gonna go to discounts. So that'll be under pay. It'll be under the property discounts, which I might not have anything on there. Oh, there is. Okay, those are like the normal Marriott standard discounts, and some of them might require manager approval. Some of them might not. You also need, in order for you to use a discount, you actually have to ring up an item and send it to the kitchen, or else you can't really discount it because you're trying to pay it.
Oh, so you have to send. the
Yeah, so
check
you have
first.
to ring up items in order to discount it, which makes sense because you're not discounting an item in, unless you're paying for it, right? So
But once you ring it up, you can automatically go here and then add
Yes,
the discount without
correct.
sending the check first,
you have to send the check first
and then go back.
and then
do
go
this.
back and do it. Yes.
Room service percentage. That means they have to input it or it automatically
The
goes. when you do
room service percentage might be an open one,
Okay.
which lets you enter whatever the percent. But I don't want that. I want to have an automatic
Automatic.
one because someone can easily do that and be like 50%, right? You don't want that happening. Yeah. Cool. So that's how you do discounts. Let's also go back to pay. Let's see what else I'm missing. You also have service charges over there. Don't worry about the offline pay and offline credit cards. That's not a big deal. Let's see. Let's go back to the restaurant screen. Let's go to functions, see what else we have in managers. Okay. Under function manager, when you open a check, go back to the restaurant screen. Bottom, yeah, there you go. And then hit function, and then click on manager. So we have tax exempt menu item, which means you can take away the tax from a specific menu item. You have tax exempt all, which tax exempts the whole check. If you want to remove the tax, that's only available to managers, of course. You've already seen void check. You've seen menu item availability. Menu item search is the same thing as menu item availability, except you could find the item and ring it up. Exempt auto service charge, so you can remove the auto service charge that happens, especially like for in-room dining. Change workstation serving period. Now that does it automatically, but it just means if you want to change it from breakfast to lunch, right? and that's going to affect your reporting if you change the workstation starting period, because it doesn't change the items available. And then you have, I don't know, I've never seen anyone use Find Check. I guess it just finds the check and displays it.
Is there a button that you can go back to, let's say you're in dinner, you wanna go back to breakfast, or?
Yeah, these will all be available. Like, I'll make them available throughout
Okay.
the whole day so that everyone can see breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Especially like, there are some sites where like a customer will be like, you know what, I don't want any dinner items. And like sometimes you want to tend to the customer, especially if they're like elite status, right?
Especially when we won't have that lunch or dinner menu
Yeah.
at that time, right?
Correct.
So just go back
Yeah.
to.
So you could technically go to the breakfast menu and ring up breakfast items for this elite customer who really wants his eggs instead of a steak. So that's the point of having all those buttons up top visible at all times. Some customers prefer it where it's not visible, but I think it should always be visible because customers really, customers can be demanding. They want breakfast items instead of dinner items, so I get it.
What is the launch PMC?
PMC, that's the last thing I want to discuss on that screen. It's something you guys won't be usually doing often, but it tells you if you launch PMC, the most important thing you're going to look at is check and posting status and database sync status. If they're online, that means that's great, perfect. You guys are great. Once it goes offline, there's most likely a network issue occurring within your hotel, most likely, or whatever is the cap server, which is Randall's workstation right there. If that gets turned off, the CAPS goes offline. CAPS is cache and posting service. Now that doesn't mean you can't do anything. You can still run transactions. It won't post to reporting and analytics until that system comes back online. So like, let's say you have an all-day outage, right? Network's down. You can still ring items. At the end of the day, like everything gets fixed. Everything will eventually get into RNA so that accounting can see all the numbers. Database sync online, I've never seen really go offline. That's also related to network. CAPS can be offline not because of network. It could be because that machine's turned off. But database sync being offline is usually because everything is down, like network-wise, not necessarily the workstation. Last thing.
So if it was down and we're able to still send checks, and to close a check, we just would have to do like the offline posting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You can still run card transactions even if things are
Offline.
Yeah.
Question. On functions over here, it says add employee. Would you be able to do that from here?
Oh, so what does it say? Add employee.
Right here.
I guess so. I've never seen anyone really do it that way. Because what would happen is if you add employee, you'll only add the employee for that revenue center, not all the revenue.
Not for
center.
okay, cool.
Yeah, correct.
Perfect. Thank you.
Speaking of that, I have two more things that are on my mind right now. One thing is if we go to the menu, let's go to wine, because this is going to be a perfect example for you guys. On the top, you see white wine glass, red wine glass, or rosé wine glass, and sparkling wine glass. Clicking on those changes what displays on your screen, right? Then you have one by the bottle and then a 9-ounce pour over here, which I don't think there's any 9-ounce pours here. So that will change it. It will also, like, for example, if you guys were serving Starbucks, right, and you did a tall grande venti, perfect example of this would be if you click tall on here, it would give you the same menu items, but it would include the tall menu price items. Whereas if you had clicked grande on top right, it would be the same exact items, but it's going to be grande price instead of tall price. So that's an example of how useful those buttons are, including the wine that you see right here. You have your bar preps, which is like rocks, neat, things like that. You have to ring up an item like a whiskey. and then you have to type in like rocks or crushed ice or whatever, you know. There's also a open items thing under bar prep or food prep. We'll go to food prep, right? So click on food prep on the top for me. Should be right over here. And food prep is, you could press like special prep, right? So you enter an item, hamburger, right? And you type in, and you press special prep, it lets you type in whatever specific thing they don't want, like, you know, pickles.
Lettuce wrap.
Yeah. Special prep will be on the top left in red.
Oh, special prep.
Yeah. It's probably because you have to. Well, do you have to read an item?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. But that's fine. Then there's open food / beverages on the same tab. If you type in, if you go ahead and click on open food / beverage, should be right over.
That's underneath functions on the right side.
Yep. I got it. There we go. So now you have all these open items, right? Let's say you guys are in a tight squeeze. You guys don't have Coca-Cola added to your on here, right? But you guys have an idea of what price you want it to be. So like you would type in like there's probably an open beverage or something here. Let's actually just do open food, just for example, right? You would just enter the dollar amount for the food. So open food is right up there. You press OK, and then you type in the food item. So this would be a good example of you don't have time to make an item, so let's use open food instead. I don't encourage it though, because accounting will freak out. They're like, what is this open food item? Why are we doing this? It's only in case of emergency. And then the last thing is actually assigning employee cards, which only you guys can do. Is it under, I think it's under the normal function. So go ahead and sign out. I will also need a list of, if you guys can email me a list of employees, and if they're servers, bartenders, managers. Go to the functions on the top right on the sign-in screen. So you also have assigned cash drawer. On assigned cash drawer, I don't know if you get, oh, we do have cash drawers actually. So beginning of shift, they would be assigning the cash drawer themselves, and end of shift, they would be unassigning it. Only one person can be assigned a cash drawer. So if you have 2 bartenders, there can only be 1 bartender that's getting assigned a cash drawer, unless you have 2 cash drawers on one workstation. Log back in, go back to that same function screen if you are. Now you've got employee reports. At the end of the day, your employees will be running an employee financial, which is essentially
Their closeout.
their closeout for the day. So go ahead and click on employee financial. And you'll see on the top left the employee that you're printing that report to. So you would press run report on the bottom right. I see you got the idea of changing the days over there. You can also change the days on the top left of the period of when you wanted to do the report. And then after you run the report, you press print, and it prints out this large CVS receipt that has all the information on
This
it.
is exciting that we can do yesterday and right from the workstation.
Correct.
We can do like
You can do a custom
morning,
days, yeah.
Morning.
Correct.
I can see the morning sales only.
Yes.
Awesome.
Any date, how far we can go?
I think it's 30 days. There's also a tip out button that's usually used by your bartenders or whoever to tip out your servers. or chefs. There's also employee tip report, which gives them, this will be under the tip report tab, by the way. So go ahead and close out of that. And then there's tip out report, and then there's employee tip report. If you run it, it just tells you all their credit card tips for the day. It won't include cash because cash doesn't actually show up in the system. It would only record credit card tips.
Room charge tips also.
Yes, room charge tips as well. Go ahead and hit close. Let's see, manager reports. Managers have more detailed reports than employees. So you can do a revenue center financial report that shows you specific statistics regarding that revenue center. Property, which is for the whole property. Employee, obviously for each employee. Menu item summary shows you a list of, I think, menu items that were sold. Yep. See, it says free cold breakfast there.
Yeah, for the bestseller.
Yeah. There's also serving period financial, right? Like, as you mentioned before, if you want to see how much was sold during lunch, breakfast, dinner. We got manager functions here. This is where you would assign the employee ID, where I will show you how to do that. So, what it is you choose a employee on there. Yeah, go ahead. We're not going to actually edit her. So, you click on an item, on a name, you press edit, and then, where are they? These cards, you would swipe, there's a little swiper on the left, you'd swipe it and it would assign the employee this card, which is going to change their login number, by the way. So like the login numbers I gave you, if you swipe this employee card, it's going to change your login number to whatever is actually stored onto this employee card, which is why I need to create you guys alternate IDs so that you can use the sign in button instead. Now, it's your guys' decision if you want to give these guys cards or if you want them to use numbers instead. Either way works. It's just more convenient to use a card because it's just swipe. These also are RFID. So if you type left side of the screen, left corner, it will also log them in. Yeah. Once I get that list of employees, I'll create all of them, sign the cards.
You don't send the last time, buddy? With all the names?
I thought I did.
Maybe it's on the side survey. I haven't looked.
Yeah,
I didn't
site.
create the database, so I'm simply editing things in database now.
I think on the site survey I only added me, you, and Sandra.
Okay.
I don't think I did. Maybe I did.
We send it again. So.
And I think the last thing I have is just the no sale button, which just simply opens the cash drawer to. It's in the same manager functions screen where you just hit no sale and it opens the cash drawer. I think servers actually have access to no sale too for like, change purposes. And you could also close the application and minimize the application, which nothing you're really gonna do anyways. You could always restart the workstation to do that as well. But I think that is all I have for you guys. I don't even know what this is. I need to get rid of that. A lot of these items are imported from different Marriott. So like you'll see things where like, why is this here? It's because like there's a specific template that they make us use to create these databases. I know that was a lot of information to absorb, but as you guys play around with these machines more throughout the week, and I'm here till I think Thursday or Friday. I think it's Friday that I leave, Friday morning, because go live is Wednesday, Thursday. I will be here till Friday essentially to make sure that you guys are comfortable with the system. To be honest, everything that I told you on here is probably, I mean, everything I showed you on my computer is important, but for operational standards, like, this is probably what you're gonna need to know the most to help others out. That EMC is like, it's hard to remember things, which is why I'm gonna send you documentation. I know I keep on repeating myself, but that EMC thing is gonna take a long time to learn. EMC is a very in-depth, lots of programs in there that can confuse the hell out of you, essentially. And once you guys go live and all this gets transferred to support will be able to help you guys with any like menu item changes if you need anything, and they can even show you a thing or two on how to do stuff. But yeah, that's all I have. If there's any other questions, let me know. If you want to stay behind and play with the machines, go ahead. I'll be in here. Just doing more work. I have to configure the printers. But that's all I have for you guys.
Thank you. Do you need to send you the menus?
Yes, if you
An
can.
email?
Yes, send it via email. That'd be great.
I think I can't see it from my phone, but I think I sent on the site survey. I think I added the servers, but I'll double check.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
if not, then I'll make the
I haven't looked too detailed into the